Well, leading a rally involving Queensland candidates today is Queensland Cabinet Minister and Aged Care and Sport Minister Anika Wells, who joins me now. Anika Wells, thanks for your time. So this announcement around a 30% subsidy for household batteries, how much is a typical household battery? How much will this save people and how does it work?
It'll save people up to $4,000, we reckon, and it will kick off from 1 July. And it's to try and address that upfront cost that stops households from getting into this space. We know here that 1 in 3 people have solar panels, but only 1 in 40 have a household battery. So we want to actually do something tangible to help people do that, and we'll do that from 1 July.
So $4,000, 30% subsidy, that means a battery must be around $12,000. It's a lot, isn't it? It's still a lot for a household to sort of... Will it be enough of an incentive to get people to fork out the other $8,000 when they're already copping it in terms of electricity bill increases?
Well, we certainly hope so. Obviously, people make this decision because they want long-term renewables, they want long-term energy reduction in their bills, and we want to help them do that. 30% is a lot, like you say, up to $4,000 is a lot to contribute, but it's important that we do that. And we know that people want to, because 1 in 3 people have solar panels. They've taken that step, which has upfront costs and helps them deliver cheaper energy. So we want to now help them with household batteries. I was at a place in Geebung yesterday. They've got a household battery. They had to do all their own research themselves, but they wanted to because of the benefits, and we want to make sure that more people like that house in Geebung can share those benefits.
And the press release has a cost associated with it of $2.3 billion. Is that across the forward estimates?
That was all accounted for in the budget that Jim Chalmers just announced. We said that we'd have more to say about cost of living measures. This is one of them, and I'm really excited to be able to go and continue to door knock and talk about this here on the north side of Brisbane, where people, I think, are feeling pretty positive about Labor's offering so far this election.
How many, I assume it's over 4 years anyway, you haven't confirmed that there. How many people does the government expect to take up this subsidy?
Look, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think that we've said that we'll do it from 1 July if we're re-elected. We've said that people will be able to save up to $4,000. We know that, like you've said in your introduction, Queensland has the highest take-up of solar panels, slightly over New South Wales. We always love to get one over New South Wales, and so we know that. Like I said, door knocking yesterday, house in Geebung already had one. A bit shirty maybe to miss the discount that they now would have been eligible for in 1 July, but pleased to know that other people out there making that choice will be able to access it with up to $4,000 off the cost.
Have any calculations been done on how much this might cut emissions by? Because I notice the sell is around saving on your power bills here, not so much on the environment.
Look, we're deep into questions for the Minister for Energy now, Andrew. Here in Lily, we are looking forward to people being able to take up the household battery option, because it not only gives them long-term reduction off the cost of their energy bills, but it helps us secure our renewables future. Here we have such a huge, Lily in my electorate, I think we're in the top 10 electorates who take up solar panels across the country. So this is welcome cost of living relief in a space that people have said is of importance to them, and it's part of why you can see that federal Labor is listening to people and is delivering actual cost of living measures that people are actually seeking as our policy offering for a second term, compared to Peter Dutton, who has offered a $600 billion nuclear fantasy, which, let me tell you, door knocking in Stafford Heights this week, door knocking in Deagon and Wavell Heights this week, absolutely no one believes is credible. And Peter Dutton has demonstrated, I mean, in Port Darwin, you were talking about off your introduction, something that he abolished, something that he flogged off as Defence Minister in the Cabinet, he's now said he'd love to buy back. It's just not credible what he's offering. People are telling me that he isn't ready to govern, and I agree with them.
Well, I'd be deep into questions for the Minister for Energy if the Minister for Energy would ever come on Sky or this program, Anika Wells. Now, is this partly aimed at beating off the Greens in seats like Griffith and Brisbane?
It is firmly aimed at helping households here in Queensland secure cheaper energy. That's important for us, it's important for our renewables future, it's important cost of living measure. Certainly I hope that will help us win the seat of Griffith. We've got a great candidate there, Renee Coffey. She's been so good on the ground, people seem to be really warming to her, and if that would help us take that seat back, I'd be very happy to hear that this was one of the measures that helped secure the confidence of the voters of Griffith for a second term Albanese government.
In the last two elections, Queensland has been a challenging state for Labor. You're holding a rally with the candidates today. Do you think your chances are better this time, and if so, why?
Absolutely I do, because despite the fact that the LNP have fired their best shot, which is running a Queenslander as their leader, he is all over the place like an Easter egg hunt. He is all over the park. And you know who else is going to have to hunt? Public servants here in Brisbane. We've got 15,000 public servants who are waking up each day of this campaign not knowing whether they're going to have a job on the other side of it, because Peter Dutton said he's going to cut 41,000 public service jobs. Those jobs, 75% of which of the jobs he's talking about, they sit outside Canberra. They're here in Brisbane. They're here in the regions. They're not in Canberra, and those public servants don't know whether they have a future under Peter Dutton. That's what he's offering them: uncertainty, risk of their jobs, and flip-flopping on policies like international students, like Port of Darwin, like housing. It's not credible, and they see that because Queenslanders can smell bullshit a mile off.
Is it a tactic of the Labor campaign to compare Peter Dutton to Donald Trump?
Look, I've been noting carefully Peter Dutton saying this week, posturing that if he'd gone to the White House, you know, he would have gotten a different outcome when Anthony Albanese and Australia secured, you know, no one got a better deal than us. And I honestly think, having seen the posturing that Peter Dutton does, but then failing to back it up with any kind of policy credibility, the only thing that Peter Dutton would have secured if he'd gone to the White House would have been an autograph and a selfie.
But is it a campaign tactic of Labor to draw out these similarities between Peter Dutton and Donald Trump?
Honestly, Andrew, I've been door knocking in my electorate in 3 different suburbs this week, and it's not a tactic of mine. It's something people are saying to me on the doors. They see it. People spot it. People spot the mimicking of policies. People see what's happening overseas. They say Peter Dutton is front bench trying to replicate that here. They're not for it. They're worried about it. They don't want that coming here.
So the opposition has its own policy announcement today, cutting the number of international students from 320,000 to 240,000, trying to get on top of the housing crisis. This is one measure. What's your reaction to that? This is a policy that Peter Dutton said he would vote against in the Parliament only months ago. And now today he says he's got that policy back as his policy offering for the election campaign. Just like Port of Darwin, when he was there, when they decided to flog it off, and he's decided he wants to buy it back. International students, he said that he would block our legislated caps on international students. Now he's woken up today and said he's got this great idea. He is all over the place like an Easter egg hunt. And it's not good enough. It doesn't give us credibility. It doesn't give us someone who's ready to govern. And I think people see that. They see someone who's not ready for the lodge, or Kirribilli, as he's made very clear. And let me tell you, I think Queenslanders have been pretty stunned. He may be the first ever Queenslander who's voluntarily signed up to support New South Wales at State of Origin and to choose to live at Kirribilli. Now, you mentioned the Port of Darwin before, but Peter Dutton's come out with a clear policy on taking the lease off the owners. The PM then came out and said, I've been trying to find a buyer. That's slightly different. Was it a bit cheeky to essentially try to trump the coalition announcement?
We have been against the selling of the Port of Darwin for 10 years. We objected to Peter Dutton and the Cabinet's decision at the time to sell it off. We still object to that decision. And now Anthony Albanese has come in and say what he would do to try and fix Peter Dutton's problem. It beggars belief that Peter Dutton is trying to take credit for a problem that he caused in the first place. Whatever specifics he wants to throw up, his credibility is in tatters on this. He was the one that sold it off in the first place. He should take responsibility for that.
Are you concerned about this issue of who is more equipped to stand up to China hurting Labor?
Absolutely not. I think that I was in the electorate of Moreton last night. There are lots of strong multicultural communities in the seat of Moreton. We're running Julianne Campbell there. She is an Australian with Chinese heritage. She speaks to those groups of people. Some of them were there last night, and they were saying that it is federal Labor offering them the policies that give them confidence in the next term of federal politics. There's obviously a lot on the agenda. Like you say, there's a lot going on in the world at the moment. What people want is consistency. What people want is representation where they feel listened to and they feel represented, and that's what we're offering in places like Moreton in a second-term Albanese government.
Anthony Albanese copped some flack last week after slipping off the stage and then suggesting he hadn't fallen over. How do you think that incident is playing out there, and do you think he fell over?
You are the first person to bring it up with me. Genuinely.
If Labor is re-elected, Anika Wells, would you like to continue serving as Aged Care Minister or move on to another portfolio?
As we've talked about before, Andrew, I worked in aged care when I was at uni. My mum worked in aged care for 15 years. It has been such an honour to return to a sector that is so desperately neglected over so long and try and put it in, set it up for the future, to put in place the reforms that are needed for the future. I'm really proud of how much we've accomplished together this term in aged care. There's plenty to go. There's all of our new reforms are kicking in 1 July, and we're furiously busy on those implementation processes. So it would be an honour to continue working on those reforms and seeing those things through.
Anika Wells, thanks so much for your time.